Okay, so emotional freedom technique is a form of acupressure. Now, if you've ever heard of acupuncture, it's similar. Acupuncture is where someone is working with the energy centers or the meridians of our body, and they're using, they go through a ton of training and they're using needles applied at specific spots to help the energy flow throughout our body. Now, with acupressure, an emotional freedom technique is just like a specific technique and way to do acupressure. It's where we're tapping or applying pressure on certain energy meridians, and an energy meridian is really just like a energy center in our body. And we're applying some pressure there to help things that might be stuck flow. So if you think about it, one, remember that at a very small cellular, maybe atomic level, we're all made up of these atoms that are plus and minus. So there's a charge, right? And so, that's why like when you get an EKG of your heart, like it's looking for the electrical energy that your heart is outputting. Or when we're looking at heart rate variability, we're looking at that pattern, that your heart is working in. But again, our heart has a lot of electrical energy flowing through it. So we've imagined that just at a body level, we're all pluses and minuses, right? And so when we're highly stressed or we're going through something that our body perceives as danger, not safe, and this could be happening at a conscious or subconscious level. But ultimately, the body perceives itself that it's in a danger and it can kick into a fight or flight response. So it's going to release stress hormone or cortisol. Now, let's say we're going through something that's causing a high stress response, and we ultimately don't have the tools or the time or the energy or just the know-how to know how do we shift and move through that experience. So I'm going to take like a concrete example. Let's say you were in a car accident when you were 12, and during that car accident, there was a ton of stress hormone and cortisol released in the body because this was like a stressful experience. Now, the benefits of when there's a lot of cortisol released or a lot of stress hormone is it can also be what flips you into action. So let's just say you were young, you're in a car accident, you had to like just flip into like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of this. I got to, whatever. And you made it through, but you never really processed, released, or let go or shifted all of that stress hormone that was released during that really significant event. Now, the thing about stress hormone is that if it's not like released or processed in a healthy way, stress hormone is a chemical. It's like something that's physiologically happening in the body. And when we're not doing something, as I mentioned, to release or process through that in a healthy way, that energy, that huge release of stress hormone, that has to go somewhere. And so if you're someone who, again, the stressful event doesn't always have to be as traumatic as, say, a car accident. It could even be something that was super perceived as danger in your body, as let's say you had a really tough day at work and you were already feeling stressed and overwhelmed, and then you have a fellow coworker who is, maybe they too are having a bad day, and they come at you in like attack mode and like, what did you do? Like, how did you do this report? Like, whatever. Let's just say like there's some type of workplace conflict happening, and there's a time where your body had a perceived attack. And again, let's say you try to get through that day, but you never really processed what that felt like when you felt like you were being called out by someone. So at the moment, you were maybe feeling high feelings of like overwhelm, anger, like embarrassed. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, like, why are they coming at me like this over a report that I did wrong? Whatever. And so at the time, your body's releasing a lot of the stress hormone. And for you, maybe if you don't have the tools, the knowledge, or the time to process through that experience, you probably just go home and you go on with your day and you kind of bury it and you stuff it down and you're like, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I just got to get supper on the table. I totally get that. We've all done that. But just think about how when we've had a lot of these experiences then, where something has been stressful, hasn't been released or processed or expressed in a healthy way, all that stress hormone adds up. And that is where we can start to get like stuckness. There is a flow of energy when we're feeling good, we're feeling healthy, when our nervous system is working as it should. Think of that like that's like a good natural flow of traffic through the body. But when stress happens and we're not processing it and it happens over and over and stress hormones being released and there's nowhere for it to go, now that energy flow, the traffic of our body, it doesn't work as well. It can sometimes come out as pain, chronic fatigue, just not knowing why you sometimes feel angry over nothing, but it could be kind of like repressed anger and stress going on. So, all of that to say that having that release, having that emotional release, even after the fact, is still going to be beneficial for you.